Hello, my dear grade 5 students of Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Academy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I believe you're doing the best you can to stay safe at this period of the lockdown. May Allah continue to protect us from this deadly virus. Ameen. Very quickly, inshallah, today we shall be taking a look at parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel and perpendicular lines. All right. To start with, it is essential for us to know the meaning of parallel lines, okay? So, starting with that now. When two lines are drawn on a plane, when you draw two lines on a plane, now, these lines are likely to intersect. They are likely to what? Intersect. They are likely to meet. As far as the lines are drawn far enough, okay? As you can see, this is the point of intersection here, okay? Now, no matter how long it will take, any two lines drawn in a plane, as far as there is enough space, okay, the lines are drawn continuously enough or far enough, they will intersect. The board may not be adequate for these two lines to intersect now, but as far as they are drawn enough, they will intersect at some point. They will meet at some point. If this one continues straight, this one also continues straight like that, as far as you maintain these straight lines, you realize that they will intersect at some point. Now, this sort of line is not a parallel line. They are non-parallel lines. Now, this brings me to the meaning of parallel line. A parallel line is a pair of lines or are pairs of lines which are continuous in their direction and have the same space or the same magnitude of space in between at any point within the lines. What am I saying? If these are two different, if these are parallel lines, for example, you realize that this line continues straight, this line continues straight. Let me tell you, as far as these lines are drawn straight, no matter how far, how long it will be drawn, they will never intersect. Okay? Now, these are what we call parallel lines. And on parallel lines, they are indicated with this form of arrows. Sometimes you see double arrows. Okay? Now, the major property of parallel line is that the space in between the lines are continuous. That is to say that if this is point A, this is point B, and we have another point C, for example, the space between this first line and the second line here is the same as the distance between this line and this line, which is also the same as this. If the line is to extend to this point, you realize that the space between the first line and the second line is still the same, meaning the space all through must remain the same as far as they are parallel lines. That means they will never meet at any point. You get what I'm trying to say? So this is what parallel lines are. Now, a line that cuts through a parallel line or two sets of lines, okay? A line that cuts through, no matter the number of lines anyway, no matter a line that cuts through a pair of lines like this is referred to as what? A transversal. A transversal, okay? That is, it's irrespective of whether it is parallel line or non-parallel lines, okay? A line that cuts through whether parallel or non-parallel lines, as far as it cuts through lines, such a line is referred to as transversal. I'm just using this now to demonstrate another property of parallel lines which you all need to know, okay? Now let's look at it. When we have a line or a transversal on a parallel line, it brings out one very important property of parallel lines. You see this angle here? We call these angles are called corresponding angles. These angles marked with red, we call them what? Corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. These corresponding angles, for a parallel line, they must be the same in terms of magnitude, okay? Corresponding angles are always the same. This is one other property of parallel lines. The corresponding angles are always the same in size. All right. Now, another property is if we have a transversal, let's assume this is another parallel line, okay? They have to be straight. If this is another parallel line, and we have a transversal cutting through like this. Now, we have what we call alternate angles. We call it what? Alternate angles. That is this angle here and this angle here. They are called alternate angles. Alternate angles. All right. Now, all alternate angles on parallel lines are also the same. Corresponding angles are the same in size. Alternate angles are also the same in size. Please take note of that. What did I say? In parallel lines, only in parallel lines, please take note. All corresponding angles as a result of a transversal and all alternate angles formed as a result of a transversal are the same for parallel lines. This very important feature distinguishes a parallel line from the non-parallel lines. Now quickly, we are going to see perpendicular now. Perpendicular line. Perpendicular lines. Now, when two lines meet such that they form a right angle, or when two lines intersect at a point such that a right angle is formed, we say such lines are perpendicular to one another. What am I saying? If we have a horizontal line like this, and we have another vertical line that crosses it, like this, as far as it forms a right angle, remember, this is usually, this is used to represent a right angle, okay? And what is a right angle? A right angle is what? An angle that is exactly 90 degrees, remember? All right, so now this is how it is. Once this second line that meets the other line forms a right angle, we say they are perpendicular to one another, okay? It mustn't only be horizontal and vertical lines. Sometimes we can have a slant line like this. As far as a right angle is formed here, which is what? 90 degrees. You can say these are perpendicular lines. Inshallah, in our next class, we are going to be looking at how to construct perpendicular lines using your pair of set squares from your mathematical sets. So you have to get that ready in our next class. Then as well as your pair of compasses, so that we will see how we can use bisection, or we can bisect to form perpendicular lines, or how perpendicular bisectors are formed. So now, very quickly, let's see our exercise for today's lesson, inshallah. Exercise. Okay. Number one, you are going to mention any two differences between parallel and non-parallel lines. Okay? Mention two differences, any two differences between parallel and non-parallel lines. The second question is, you are going to draw a pair of parallel lines and indicate the alternate angles. You draw a pair of parallel lines and indicate the alternate angles, okay? Then the third one, you are going to define perpendicular lines. You are to define perpendicular lines. That's about all we'll have time for today, inshallah. Till we meet next time, it's goodbye for now. Thank you very much.